and welcome to Reveal the Legend Within Story Festival World-Class Speakers Interviews. And today I have the huge pleasure of introducing a really great friend. Tash and I just really know each other. We have slept together. Okay, it was just in the same hotel room, but many times we've done it in Los Angeles together. And I think I know her darkest secrets and vice versa, and we've really been on a journey together. The fascinating thing is that Tash is a bike coach. In fact, she's called the Bike Whisperer, and I have never seen her on a bike, not in real life, because I've never been to her mountain in Canada. I know Tash in real life, and for her, the two are not different. So, without further ado, please welcome Tash. Hello, Tash.
Hello, Mel. Thank you for having me.
So, you have this really interesting take on most people think that to have more fun, you need to be better at things. You have to get good at things and then you can have fun. Or is it the other way round? Which way round is it?
So, what we generally think is that there's something wrong with us and we have something to fix. So, when it comes to having fun, we focus on the fact that we need to get better. We need to do it better. We need to be, I don't even know a better word at it, but we strive to fix ourselves, thinking that once we get there, then we will have fun. However, we've got it completely wrong, because how could it be fun if we're focusing on the fact that we're doing it wrong or that there's something wrong with us? Whereas if we just focused on life is fun, it's all part of the experience, then everything allows us to just get better, because we're having fun, we're having the experience, we're really stepping into it, which allows us to feel confident. And when we're confident, things just fall into place.
And I've watched you live this, so you are like literally fun to be with. And we have done many long hours at bars in Los Angeles. But how for you? And obviously, I do know this story, but it's your story, and it's an incredible one. How did this all start, really?
So I've always been a fairly active human being. I come from New Zealand, and we're just kind of born that way. I was with my childhood sweetheart. We were snowboarding, and I experienced him crash his snowboard. He landed headfirst on a rock. I've never heard noises like what I heard come out of a person. And in that moment, it was this like, wow, everything's changed. We didn't know what was going to happen. He was flown off in a helicopter. And what I really saw in that moment and in the moments that followed were that, we think we're on a trail. We think we're cruising along and we have expectations. We know where we're going, and then things change. And quite often we try and keep them the same. We don't want to be on a different trail. We want the trail that we were on. So we fight against it and we get frustrated. And in the time and the moment that my sweetheart was lying on the snow and not knowing, is he going to live? If he lives, will he ever walk again? Suddenly the trail changed. And it was this awareness that the opportunity here was to take the path that we had now, instead of fighting against the path that could have been.
Unbelievable. And for you to have found that truth in something that was, could have taken you in any direction. And as you say, you could have been like, I don't want this, and then just gone into denial or chosen a completely other life in some other way, is just, a testament to how hard you work at figuring this out, and why you're the person who knows that you have to start by having fun to get better at everything. And so you teach women primarily to ride a bike, but you say there are two different types of women, and this completely fascinates me. Who are the two types of biking women?
So we basically have the women who bike, and we have biking women. So biking women are like the ones that the bike runs through the blood. It's part of your personality. It's who you are. The people that know you're a biker, and you get out there and you just thrive on that adrenaline and the energy and the excitement. You love pushing through those boundaries. And then you have the women who bike And those are the people, the women that really are out for the freedom. They remember being a kid with the wind in their ears and adventuring and being able to go wherever they want. They're not in it to hurtle themselves down something that's going to kill them. They're in it just to have a whole lot of fun on their bikes. And I think it's really important to acknowledge that there are two different types because they are both so valid and they both allow us the same opportunities to move through the challenges in our lives and really see what our relationship is with ourselves through the relationship that we create with the bicycle.
See, now that's the fascinating bit. And I mean, and just before we talk about that, I often wonder, like, which kind of biker am I? And how I might want to be one, but I might actually be the other. And it's that thing of like, there is no difference in they're not good, bad, or bad. They're just, which one are you? And by acknowledging it, you actually end up really having the fun that makes you better at it. But you
Exactly.
talk about a relationship with the bike, and the way you talk about that is kind of unique because you say we can be in an abusive relationship with a bike.
Absolutely. It's it's a fascinating thing that we think, "Oh, I want to start biking. I remember when I was a kid and to say the wind in the hair and I'm in the flow and I just remember how fun it was. So I'm going to get out and I'm going to bike. And it's going to be so much fun. And then you're on the bicycle and it's like, hey, hold on a minute. I wanted to date the bike that was nice to me, that treated me well, that whisked me to the top of the hill, and then we rode down, enjoying it, and it was super fun. But somehow I ended up with the bike that it's really hard to go up at the hill, and the bike is constantly showing me my limits. It's showing me that I'm not good enough. It's showing that I'm not fast enough. It makes fat. It makes me feel thin. It's like I've now allowed this relationship to become toxic because I'm now using the thing that I wanted the freedom from is now the very thing that I'm flogging myself with when I don't get it right. And now I'm just straight back into that place of I was trying to get the freedom to feel like I was okay, to feel enough in the world. And instead, just like everything else, it just becomes that reflection. And it's sort of such a beautiful opportunity because right there, you've got a window to your world.
Right, and so this is where you really are really great about talking about biking and life in the same. There's like paper thin difference between them. It's like a tissue you could get them, because your whole attitude. Now, there's the map, the trail piece, and the tree piece, and I'd kind of like you to explain that, and then we'll see where that takes us.
Okay. So what I've discovered over thousands of hours of hanging out with children, women, men on bikes, I've noticed that it has nothing to do with riding the bicycle. And it's all about how we are when we're riding the bicycle, what the relationship is between our pieces. So I'll just back it up a little bit. My whole world has been kind of dictated by Betty Gohard. Betty Gohard is the personality that really started my whole journey into this world. And I see Betty as three pieces. So Betty is your emotional balance. Go is the skills, it's the techniques, it's the fitness, all the things you need to be awesome and really excel in whatever you do. And then you've got the heart. And the heart is the relationships. So that's where we look at our relationship with our bike, which really reflects how we've got our relationship with ourselves, which allows us to see how we operate in the world. So then I looked at how I've been teaching mountain biking for the past 12, 15 years. And there's like the bike pyramid. And what I realized is that if you look at the different pieces, so life, we need balance. So if you're getting on a bicycle, if you don't have balance, it's not going to go well. So step one, you're going to fall off. Simple as that. So step one, we got to get our balance. Step two, we want to look at our speed control. We want to know how fast or slow we need to be going at whatever it is we're doing. And without the speed control, we're liable to go flying off the trail. I've seen it happen. The next step is we want to manage our terrain. So in any situation, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, you're on your trail. So your terrain is dictated by what's going on with you. It's quite clear that, a single mom is in a completely different world than a single girl with no kids and a dog. So when we start to compare them, it doesn't make sense. So just understanding that terrain is really important. Once we have that, we're able to pick our line. You can see where we're going, you can see what we're doing, and then we're able to ride the line, and that's where we get our flow and we move into the integration. The integration piece allows us to bring it all together, filter it into our everyday life, bring it all into alignment with where we're going and what we're doing. And in that space, you're able to recognize where your trail is. You're able to recognize where your obstacles come in, and you're able to manage through them. So when you fall off the bike, it is as simple as just coming back to, where's my balance? What am I up to? Where's my line? And off we go again. So through this process, it takes the technical aspect out and allows us to just focus on the pieces that are important in order for us to, stay in flow, ride the trail, not focus on the bike.
Get to the bottom of the mountain without falling off.
Exactly. And if you do, knowing how to get back on and continuing down the mountain.
Right, and this is one of the key pieces, is getting back on, right? That's how you get to the bottom of the mountain and get to go again.
Yeah, getting back on. And then the other one is knowing when to switch your direction, right? So when you're on your bicycle, if you're on like a skinny or something and your bike wants to go another direction, you go the other direction, right? It's all about like going the easy way. If you fight it, that's when you crash.
Okay, right. That's when the wheel's going to wobble.
Absolutely, right? And it's the same when we're kind of following our trail generally. Like if you try and fight what's happening, when there's a really easy line in another direction that you could take, but this is what you want, we get focused, and that's where the fun and the flow.
Well, and that takes us back to how you started this, which was that, this accident, this terrible accident happened to your childhood sweetheart, and that's the way the life went. And if you tried to fight that bicycle, then we're talking about bang, crash, wallop. But the interesting thing about this is this whole because some of this stuff is we can hear and learn with other people, or we're used to it. We can open up Pinterest and some of it'll be there or something. But for you, when you explain it, that on a bicycle, when we do this, the results are instant. So we see why this works. That's really key. So explain that bit to me.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of, when you're on a bicycle, you're collapsing time, right? We can go for years in our life focusing on the wrong thing and not realizing that it's not working for us. But if you're hurtling down a trail and you're focusing on the tree that is directly in front of you, because that's all you can see, and as you get closer to the tree, you notice that the trail actually goes the other direction. You've got that choice. If you stay focused on that tree, it's exactly where you're going to end up. But if you're able to very quickly shift your focus, look in the other direction, you're going to zip down that trail, wind in your hair, flowing until you focus on the next tree or the next rock. But it's all about very quickly changing that focus, because if you don't, you crash. So having that understanding of the very quick action reaction allows you to start to see that in real life. When you're in certain situations, it's like, oh, hold on a second, I can kind of see where this is going. And you can see where you start to get the tunnel vision, and where you're focused on one thing and you're not allowing yourself to see all of the other options. And it is just, it's like you're in an argument and you're so angry about that argument that you forget to receive that there's actually something else going on, and you could switch your focus and be out of that argument and off in another direction. So, as I say, it's so quick. And I had a really fun experience. One day I was sitting fighting with my invite box, and I was scared. I found myself like terrified of what might be in there. And I thought, this is ridiculous, Tash. You literally will go and hurtle yourself down things that could kill you. Like, we're not talking might kill you. Like, literally do the wrong thing, game over. But I'm less scared of that than I am of answering the email. Okay, there's something going on here. And that really made me sit back and stop and go, okay, a
Right. And so this is
beautiful
what you're
thing.
saying.
We
We
just
don't,
get to see it.
yeah, we don't see it in life. We continue in that pattern, but on a bike, and then that translates into real life. And we're going back to that bit about the dialogue inside us when we're in that abusive relationship with the bike, and we're like, oh no, nothing's fun anymore. That is sort of part of the trail. That's sort of the mind trail. That's like if we're focusing on that, that's the same as heading for the tree. And
Absolutely.
if you could switch your focus, then you get back in flow. Um, I know there's a story about your brother in here that you tell to explain some of this.
Yeah, I had a transformational experience a few years back. I was going through a course and I had probably spent 12 months cycling around the fact that I didn't feel like people liked me. And I was like, what is going on here? And I stood up at the microphone and had this epiphany that I'd had my brother tell me a few years back that what I was doing was not acceptable for a 30 something year woman, and I needed to just grow up and get a real job and do it right. And a couple of days later, I found myself heli biking down a mountain thinking, well, that's ridiculous. Why would I ever give this up? But unfortunately, in my subconscious, this had taken root. And there was this dialogue running in my background that everything I did, I was checking in with my brother and my mom to see if I was growing up, whether I was riding the right trail, whether I was doing the things that a grown up 30 something year old woman would do. And I was miserable. I'm living the life of my dreams thinking that I'm doing it all wrong. And I stopped and I was like, hold on a second. I literally had everything I ever wanted. My world is magical. The only thing that it is not magical is the fact that I think I'm supposed to be doing something else. Now, the irony of this, of course, is that I mentioned this recently to my brother, and he was like, what are you talking about? I never thought that. And it was like this moment in time that I literally had decided that I needed to make an agreement with myself that he was right. And I focused on trying to grow up and do it the way everyone else does it. And I lost myself. I lost my path. I lost my trail. And I started focusing on needing to be liked. It was like my cup was empty and I needed other people to fill it up. I needed biking to fill it up. And that was where I realized that that's not how we do it.
Yeah,
Actually,
and
if we
how
just
many of us? How many of us have got a similar story to that? Like some little comment has taken root and we're not doing it right and so on and so forth. And yet, as you say, you're living the life of your dreams. You are heliing onto the top of mountains and, getting to the bottom and like in the adrenaline rush. And this is your life and you have created it. You are literally designed your life. You're one of the most extraordinary women. You're a warrior. You've designed your own life. You make it happen, and it's not a real job. And that's why it's so extraordinary, because a real job's easy, but inventing one, creating a life around it, and then, just that thing about where you make a choice and then you have the guts, the courage to build a life around it, is an extraordinary thing that needs to be respected. And you did that. And as you say, it's just this crazy little thing that the focus, you're focusing on the tree. And as soon as you switch it and realize that you are living the magical life, what does it actually feel like when you realize you're living a magical life?
it's it's the same as that feeling that I look for on my bicycle. Everything is whole. You're aligned, and in that moment, absolutely, it's like the stars have aligned in order to give you everything you could ever want. And what's crazy is suddenly you see all of these things that before you maybe hadn't acknowledged. Wow, there's people walking around wondering how she does it. And I'm wandering around wondering, what am I doing? And really, if I just step into being that magical person of like, I just
How does
focus on
she do it?
what.
Sometimes you just have to fling on that crown and remind everybody. Anyway, thank you so much for this gorgeous time with you. if there was one takeaway that you wanted people to take away from this conversation, what would it be?
That I just want you to remember that the essence of life is fun and joy. And that is what we are aligned in here to be. And it is only when we focus on all of the other stuff that is going wrong and all of the things, all of the trees, the rocks, the roots, and we make them into something more than something we pass by as we ride down the line. When we stop focusing on the fun, we start focusing on fixing. If we just focus on having fun, and in order to get better, it's starting with a smile. And if you just focus on the smile, all the fun, all the chatter, everything will disappear and you'll be able to flow. Because quite honestly, your brain cannot understand that if you're smiling, you're having fun. So eventually it will agree and you'll be aligned. And there's only one thing that can happen, that you will flow.
Just because it's so much fun, do act out that being on a bike, smiling, and then that mind goblin in the background does not compute. Do that bit, because that's just so much fun.
So I was with some girls the other day, and I was like, right, girls, I just want you to smile. And I was riding along, and I'm thinking, it's crazy. I got this smile on my face, and the brain is going, hold on a minute. This isn't fun. This is not fun. You are biking. Biking is scary. You're not good at it. There's roots, there's rocks. You could die. This is not fun. Why are you smiling? Why are you smiling? I don't understand. Dude, hey, listen up. You're terrified right now. This is hard. This is not fun. What are you doing? Smiling. You're still smiling. I don't understand why you're smiling. Okay, if you're smiling, you must be having fun. Okay, well, if you're having fun, I guess I'm not needed. I'm going to have a cup of coffee, and I guess I'll wait till you do the next thing that we know that you're not good at, and we can make sure. But I guess you're smiling, so got nothing to do here. I'm just going to go have a cup of tea.
Fine. Have fun then. Fine.
Exactly. You make your fun, and I'll go do something else.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm so honoured that you came and spoke about all of this, because it's truly one of the most fun stories to hear, and you have so much fun to bring into the world and so much fun to teach us all how to have, and just want to say thank you, but with all my heart. I love you, and I cannot wait for everybody when they come to the festival to come and hear your story in more depth, and then maybe even choose to take a workshop with you and figure out how to, find their trail and have fun to get better. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the other side.
Thank you for having me.